Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, Bitcoin holders, get ready. I have some interesting things to show you guys. Get ready for a massive surge that may be coming at the end of this year. Yes, massive surge. So let's take a look at what I have to show you guys, and also let's talk about the infrastructure bill. What's the latest going for it? Should we be worried? Let's take a look. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Although tonight is different, and I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to tell you guys why. But make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, articles, and guides on CryptosRUs.com. All right, guys, welcome. Sunday morning for most of us in the U.S. If you're overseas, I don't know if it's nighttime or very late, but things are kind of holding right now. So let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is right around the same point I recorded my last night's video. Obviously, I had something to do, so I didn't have a live stream. But after that video, Bitcoin went on a pretty good run all the way to like 45.4, and then now it came down a little bit. And I feel like this came down because of the infrastructure bill that is being debated on right now. Okay, so that's the latest. Let's start with that. So after deliberations and the Senate, discussing about the infrastructure bill, they just said there was no votes. They will continue today at noontime, but everyone that has been supporting the Whedon, Loomis, and Toomey amendment, right? That was the right thing to do. So Senator Loomis tweeted this out, and they are convening right now and talking about the infrastructure bill, right? So there's 2 amendments with the infrastructure bill that relate to crypto. There's a Warner one and this Whedon, Loomis, Toomey one. And basically, both of them will restructure tax reporting on crypto that relates to mining and development and being a protocol. So those 3 things, right? Except one of the amendments does not exclude the protocol or developers. It seems like the language is vague, so it's interpreted that way. But basically, bottom line is a lot of people are fearful that this could be bad because the miners are excluded now. The proof of work miners are excluded. Proof of stake, stakers, they seem to be excluded now. And then now it's really coming down to the developers and the protocols. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what happens with what's going on with the vote, right? So I think that's why Bitcoin came down a little bit. Now, one thing I've been hearing a lot about is crypto or Bitcoin is not just in the U.S., and that is correct. So, for me being the U.S., sometimes I get narrow-sighted because I think everyone watching is in the U.S. No. If somehow this does get improved, right, and it's bad and tax reporting, KYC needs to be enforced on the protocols or developers, which could be bad, but this is just for the U.S. And of course, we know crypto is worldwide, right? So this is not like a worldwide thing. It's just related to U.S. But I do think it's still early. There's a lot of support for this amendment, which basically excludes tax reporting and KYC from all irrelevant, I guess, entities or the ones that doesn't make sense to be doing it, right? So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I think that's the reason why actually Bitcoin came down. So I think afterwards, if it's a non-event or something very positive, right, we can see that tremendous pump for Bitcoin. Because yesterday I was telling you guys about this, right? The breakout point for Bitcoin is actually right around here, about 44,000. And obviously, you could see the wick, we did break above. and it looked like Bitcoin was ready to pop and ready to break out to 50,000 plus. But I think there's still a lot of iffiness, a lot of FUD around this infrastructure bill voting. So again, let's see what happens later today. All right. So that's the latest with that. But what about this massive surge? I do believe that this is still coming, and there's just so much data that's behind it. There's so much data that shows you that Bitcoin is not done with this rally, and it's only getting scarcer, and there's more money coming into the space. So, by the way, yeah, I wanted to announce tonight is another episode of DCA, okay, Digital Crypto Answers. Last week, this was very, very successful. I received very, very good feedback. It's going to happen again today, and basically every Sunday. It's going to be at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. 7:30, not 8:30. And make sure you guys tune in. So it's going to be Rob from Digital Asset News and James from Invest Answers, and of course myself. And it's on this channel. There's no other separate channel. It's on this channel. Okay, so let me get that out of the way. I was going to say that first. But all right, so going back to what I was saying about this massive surge, I was looking at this interesting article that talks about diminishing returns and how some people feel like, well, as Bitcoin gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it can't possibly do these kind of pumps or rallies or double or triple, or the price can't possibly keep going up because of diminishing returns. Well, this author is arguing, if you read through the whole thing, that's actually not the case. And he proves it with tech stocks. But first of all, looking at this is what I have in the thumbnail. This is very, very interesting. So this looks at the average growth of Bitcoin from previous cycles and relates it to its current trajectory, which you can see that it was right on track until we fell back down a little bit. But that does not mean that this can't turn all the way back up, just like previous times. If you look at some of these previous cycles, there has been times where Bitcoin deviated from some kind of fractal or metric or something like that, and it comes right back up. So if you look at where Bitcoin is now and you project where it could go, just like previous cycles, you could see the beginning would be the market cap of Apple, and that would be at 128,000 per Bitcoin. That would put it around $2.4, $2.5 trillion. But if it goes up to, say, $288,000, that's actually where Plan B and the stock to flow model, that's actually where he projected will be. That's somewhere in the middle. If you go to the top end of where this rally may end, that is Bitcoin being at the market cap of gold. And it would place Bitcoin at $550,000. And that would be roughly 11 or 12 trillion dollars in market cap. So you could see there is plenty of room to grow. Plenty of room to grow, right? So after we hit 64,000 and we start heading higher, 70, 80, 90, 100, and keeps going, that's when it's massive FOMO time. And things can move very, very quickly within a very short amount of time. And even if the time is stretched out, even if we break through and keep going until 2022, it doesn't really mean anything. With so much institutional money coming in, they're just holding, right? It makes sense that the cycle kind of just continues on. But just looking at this, there's so much more room to grow. And we are in the fourth year of a 4-year cycle, traditionally the most bullish year of all. And we have so much more other things going on. This could definitely happen. Now, as for the rest of the article, talking about diminishing returns, because there's a lot of people that look at, well, George, Bitcoin is at 44,000. It's not at 4,000. It's not at 6,000. How can it keep going at the same rate as previous cycles? Well, that's what this whole article is about. And it looks at, well, what about tech stocks? What happened when Apple, Google, Microsoft, what happened when they hit 500 million? And then they hit 1 trillion. And then they hit 2 trillion. Did they actually slow down? No. And actually, the rate of increase actually accelerated. So that's the funny thing. You look at these tech stocks early on, they had some massive up and downs, including Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft went through like a decade where it did not move. Think about it. If you thought 2 months of Bitcoin non-movement was bad, think about holding Microsoft for 10 years and not having it move until it started moving. But you could see very early on, they had a very hard time hitting and surpassing 500 million in market cap. And that was all the way over here, guys. Like all the way over here. That didn't happen until sometime in 2017. Going all the way back from 1984. But guess what happened? From 2017, it doubled from 500 million to a trillion to 2 trillion. And they're all on their way to 3 trillion. So this is arguing, no, diminishing returns is silly when you consider how much money is out there. There's so much money out there in the world. So this notion of diminishing returns, eventually, it's logic that it will happen, right? But in the meantime, you can certainly see things double and triple and quadruple very, very, very quickly. And then, of course, you put it all together, all these big tech stocks versus Bitcoin, and look at how fast Bitcoin has caught up, right? And if Bitcoin continues on, it will surpass the market cap of all these tech companies in very short order. That's how amazing Bitcoin has been and how amazing it will continue to be going forward, right? Because unlike tech stocks, which does not have a limit, they could always issue more shares, but Bitcoin we know is set, and Bitcoin is global, and there's so much more that comes with Bitcoin versus tech stocks. So I like this. I like this a lot. So the notion of diminishing returns, eventually it's going to happen, but right now with so much money in the world, especially now with all the printing and so forth, and with Bitcoin and overall crypto market cap being relatively small still, there is still so much room to grow. And can we hit 128,000 or 288,000 or even 550,000? My answer is yes. It's just a matter of how long you wait. It will get there eventually. So I like it. I like it a lot. All right, what else is there? Well, this talks about Plan B and 288,000, right, from stock to flow. Well, Plan B is still tweeting out saying, yeah, just to reconfirm this message from last month, he said, yes, the bull market is not over. Things are on track. And according to his prediction, the floor indicator for the end of August for Bitcoin is $47,000. $47,000. So we're not too far off. We were just at 45 last night, right? So right now we're at 44. Can we make another 3,000 by the end of August? Sure. But things are looking like we're going to be way above 48,000 by the end of August. Okay, unless something really derails this market, we are definitely on the uptrend again. We're definitely up on an uptrend since our 28.8 or 29 low. We have been making good strides upwards, and it seems like all the FUD that we used to hear about just disappeared. What happened to all the FUD? Like miraculously, just one day, they stopped being posted. Media stopped talking about it. What happened to Scott Miner's doomsday predictions? They no longer come anymore. What about JP Morgan and all these guys saying there's no institutional interest? You don't hear about that anymore. In fact, this institutional interest, I saw this article, which talks about what bear market, exactly what I was saying. According to this article, according to who published this statistic, 288 billion of VC funding came in the first half of 2021. 288 billion, okay? And that is just these VCs dipping in their toes. This is not them coming in full force. This is why I say there's so much money out there. These VCs have so much money. And you look at some of these headlines, Like, for example, Dapper Labs raised $305 million from NBA players for NBA Top Shots. You have FTX Exchange raising $900 million to make their derivative exchange now worth $18 billion. And you have some of the biggest guys, even including like Paul Dodor Jones, that's investing heavily. You have Fireblocks, an infrastructure company that raised $310 million. Andreessen Horowitz launched a $2.2 billion crypto fund, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Again, where's this money coming from? Well, it's coming from everywhere. VCs, hedge funds, retail investors too, and whales and public trade companies. Let's not forget how much Bitcoin Michael Saylor has bought during this year, just this year alone, right? Billions upon billions. I mean, there is still so much room for crypto, so much money that's waiting to flow in, and it's definitely a very exciting time. Very exciting time. All right. Lastly, I saw this article about SEC boss Gary Gensler and how he wants to basically become king of crypto and wants to regulate everything, right? According to this this writer who consulted a lot of lawyers, basically, you know, he has limited jurisdiction right now. And that's according to the Security Act of 1933. So even though Gary, which, you know, many applauded, including myself, because we thought that he really knew about blockchains and that he is pro-innovation, he recently did an interview and seemed like he was kind of negative, except with Bitcoin. He loves Bitcoin. He likes Nakamoto, but everything else, he's like, everything else is a security. So, well, that's not the case. And this author does make a good point, because I talk about basketball cards all the time, and he makes a point in here too, right? Just because cryptos could be traded like a stock doesn't mean that it is a stock or it's a security. Just because you can trade it doesn't mean it's automatically a security. Case in point, baseball cards or basketball cards. There's a lot of money flowing around with basketball, baseball cards, okay? So you can trade them. You can make money from them, right? But you don't see the SEC go after people that gets ripped off with sports cards because they do not act like a stock. You're not buying into a company's investment or a company's earnings, or you're not buying a portion or owning a portion of the company, right? There are some things that make a stock a security. But it seems like the SEC or Gary may want to just put everything in that category, which isn't the case. And of course, we know the CFTC is fighting this too. They're like, hey, crypto are commodities, not securities, right? So there seems to be there's going to be some power struggles going on, and we'll see. We'll see who comes out on top. But first things first, this infrastructure bill, that is still being debated. Let's see what happens then. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall, you know, we're about the same as yesterday. Things have come down a little bit for some. Like, for example, Ethereum hit as high as like 3,200 yesterday. So now it's around 3,000. So overall, it's kind of like all the gains that we had earlier kind of disappeared from Saturday. But we're still holding steady. I think, again, everyone's waiting to see what happens to the infrastructure bill, which amendment gets passed through. And if we get some good news, I think we start flying. All right. So, all right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling. All right, I'm scrolling down. Just a lot of comments, not a whole lot of questions. Did you see, Darth Flyer says, did you see the report of Yellen's speaking fees just released? City and Citadel, biggest contributions was over 7.2 million. No wonder the bill is like what it is. I mean, yeah. You know, it's like, I don't know how politicians get away with it. Their campaign contributors are the ones that, you know, that they're fighting for. Just like Citadel is the company behind the whole Robinhood thing, right, with Melvin Capital and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, these I don't know. Politics is just really, politics is what it is, right? I find it's very hard to be a politician, my own opinion. Very, like, straight and ethical politician, I think it's very hard because of all the campaign donations, right? Because you have to cater to who's donating to you and your party. It's just, it's very screwed up. So that does not surprise me. What are your thoughts on Happy? It's basically Chainlink 2.0, cybersecurity and low security supply. No, it's not like Chainlink 2.0. It's an Oracle, and you could do stuff with it. Like, if there's a security breach or something like that, you can report it. But it doesn't automatically do it. You have to program it to do it. And it's not nearly as used as Chainlink. So they're not really the same. And I'm not a fan of Happy, because I think you could do the same doing Chainlink. Fernando, thank you. Henry says, did CIA create Bitcoin? I don't think we'll ever know that question. Vegas conference has been delayed, postponed until 2022, when things really die down, if they ever do. So hopefully that'll be sooner than later. If you had to drop 50K this week, where would you put it? I would distribute it among many. I wouldn't put in one. That's the whole point of my portfolio, the sample portfolio I built with you guys, which is up still pretty good. Still up 33% over the last 30 days. But hey, I would spread it out. Spread it out, DCA. I wouldn't rush into things. Always spread out your buys and pick the winners. Pick the winners. Luke, people could say what they want. People are speculating, right? Until it happens, we won't know. But I don't agree with that. Rob, thank you. Andrew says, do you intend to invite Jordan and Jason to be guests? You know, I was thinking on DCA, I do want to have guests, but it seems like, you know, James and Rob, they want to stick with 3. Not really a fan of guests. So I don't know if we're going to have guests or not. Jeremy says, hi, Jordan. I'm curious to know your thoughts on Helium. Yeah, I haven't looked at Helium for quite some time, but they are creating a low power mesh network, using miners. And miners are just like APs, basically, access points. And they have been doing really well. When I covered them, they were like only, I don't know, 200 million at that time, 200, 300 million. And they're doing very well, 1.4 billion. And it was founded by one of the Napster guys. So I like the project. I just hear it's impossible to get the APs. Ismail says, never been in a bear market. I have profited over 50K for life-changing wealth. How bad is this tracement in BDC? I don't know. You mean now or later? I mean, after this next run, we could certainly retrace after have a blow off top, but we could have a case where it's not nearly as bad as previous cycles. Like we just went through a 50% drop. So could we see another 50% drop after we hit 100K or 250K? Sure. Right? But the thing is, previous cycles, Bitcoin went down 86%. Can we see that again? Maybe, but I think it's less likely because so much institutional buying and they hold so much Bitcoins and they're not going to sell. So, I don't know. To me, I think we will have a blow off top, but I think it's not going to be as severe as before. So I was thinking about, the next Gordon says, I was thinking about staking my crypto through Anchor Protocol, 19% APY. Yeah, not bad, not bad. There's a lot that's around 19, 20. There's a lot of like projects, that gives pretty high interest rate, even natively. Like eMoney, which is one of my sponsors, they, if you natively stake in their wallet, which is really easy, one-click setup, is 28% APY. Energy also, they have a node and master node, which is giving like 12 or 13 and then like 20 something in a master node. So there's a lot of ways to make good interest just from even staking it in projects. Did you hear London EIP 5059 to arrive on XDAI shortly? I don't know why I don't know how that helps them. Are they a EVM compatible chain? I don't know why it relates to them. Zahn says, can someone super chat why BNB is not doing so great? Well, it's pretty obvious. Number one, there's a lot of FUD around regulations around Binance Coin. And second, that's not really true, okay? You look at the 1 year performance of BNB, 1,400% versus 666% for Ethereum. So, yeah, short term, maybe. But even going back a year, it's more than double the performance of Ethereum. It's even higher than Cardano, higher than Bitcoin, right? So don't always concentrate on what happened the last month. Worry about long term, okay? So just fine. Jordan cards from 90s worth anything? Yes, a lot. Dude, I missed it. All right, last few questions. Do you think nulls will be listed on any more exchanges in the future? Seems like they're the main thing holding back. Not really. They're already on Binance. So anything that is on Binance is a really good shot of pumping. So they're already on Binance, and I believe they're on KuCoin too. So they're on all the exchanges that need to be. They just need to get more traction. That's really it. I know they have their own DEX and other things, but they really need to get into NFTs, get into AMMs, more yield farming, get into a lot of things that draw in a lot of eyes and viewers. That, I think, is what's going to help them, not exchange listings. Zach says, I'm holding less turd coins. Well, that's always good. EC, thank you. I like the way you analyze crypto. Do you have any thoughts on Veracity? I'm neutral on Veracity, but maybe I'll come around to them because their claim to fame is they have some patent on counting real views, which I don't think is a big deal. But they are getting into a lot of esports stuff and sponsoring like contests and doing streaming and stuff. So, I mean, in a way, they're almost kind of competing with Theta. If they can continue to do well and draw in viewers like that, great. But their patent about counting views, I don't care about at all. I don't think that's a big deal. When's the best time to convert your altcoins back into Bitcoin? When we're going to go down 50% for Bitcoin. That's when, but no one really knows. If you have diversified 50, 25, 25 portfolio, I think you'll do just fine, even during downtrends. So just don't go too heavy in alts. I think you'll be fine. Harmony price prediction. I don't have a Harmony price prediction. I do like the project, and I think it will come back up in a big way. Saying, thank you for that super chat. I got in the dip. Should I take profits, hold a long term? Hold a long term. There's a lot more room. There's a lot more that's coming. That's for sure. That's the point of this video. Massive surge, which could be coming. And I think this is all you need to know. If we do follow the same trajectory as previous cycles, that means we're like not even halfway there. This should be the minimum. Bitcoin at 128,000. But many other people are thinking 288,000, like Plan B, Tim Draper, Mike Novogratz. I mean, there's so many guys, Paul Dedore Jones, all these guys, Kathy Wood, all these guys think that we're going to go higher, right? So even at the end of the cycle, we could see Bitcoin at 288,000 or close to it. And as time goes on, we'll keep going and eventually get 550,000. Bitcoin will surpass the market cap of gold and continue forward. So still very early. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. So thanks for tuning in. Tonight, tune in to DCA, okay, where me, Rob, James have a good chat. So make sure you tune in tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later or see you later. Bye-bye.